Dogecoin, XDC, and Solana just flashed this rare signal. Crypto explosion ahead? Their titles is ridiculous. For those of you that are new or just found this channel because I'm covering a coin you're interested in, like, subscribe, become a member if you want, knowing 50% of your membership goes to save animals' lives, and you get coin requests covered and insight on those coins before they do major pumps like this. But lucky you, we're covering some good ones in this video, so stick around. As boring as it is, I'll explain why and with reasoning. And if you're also new to this channel and haven't checked out this game, there's a reference link in the description below. If you say Bitcoin's too expensive, you can't afford it, using that reference link, you get 1,000 Satoshi Bitcoin for free, airdrop to the in-game wallet. And as you can see, every 10 minutes I start earning passive rewards in this game while mining crypto, and I really don't have to do anything. But clearly 58 XRP have been mined, 656 Doge, we got 0.7 Solana, some Polygon, a bunch of stuff. So check out that game, use that reference link, get yourself some free Bitcoin, because we're here to make money, not sell you my bag. But Doge, if you've been sticking along in the channel, we had our entry down here around the 9 cent area, and it is currently up about 14%. It did have that nice pump to around 30%, but the 200 EMA is pretty strong. And the reason we look at it like this is a Gone fan, this crazy thing that's going on here. So the Gone fan is just like Fibonacci retracement, these boxes that are in the background here. It's just a different variation of it. It's a nice sideways movement, and we clearly see that when this coin entered or crossed over the blue portion, lagging out, when it crossed over this blue line, it's got all this purple area to play around in. If we get over that purple area, we have all this red area in between here, and if it breaks this red line, then we have this area up to 23 to 25 cents. Dogecoin is currently 10 cents. They say it can hit $1. We've seen in previous history at least hit 48 to 50 cents, which is very good. And typically in crypto, we expect double. So when it hits its all-time high, we could expect at least 80, maybe 90 to $1. And the fact that you can mine it within this game, every 10 minutes getting paid a portion of Doge, it's kind of a no-brainer just to mine it passively while it's here at 10 cents. And then once it goes up to 48 cents to $1, right now I'm earning about 10 Doge a day. I see it not as $1 a day, I see it as anywhere from $5 to $10 a day. Great passive income, use that reference link. But Doge, if you haven't entered into Doge, it pretty much bottomed out at this 0.087 line. I don't think we're going to even go much lower than that. Yes, it does have the possibility to test down here around the 0.07 cents, depending on if Bitcoin will do that. But we've held pretty strong support back here in September of 2024. It was its previous resistance, and we haven't really ever hit its absolute low since back here in June of 2022, which is around 5 cents. So keep in mind it does have the possibility to cut itself in half 50%, which would essentially mean Bitcoin, XRP, and everything else is cutting themselves in half or majorly. Bitcoin would have to pull back 11, 12% or further to have Doge have that kind of evaluation. But for now, we are stating that 9 cents is about as low as it wants to go for Dogecoin. Then you could even dig in a little bit further and you could do a fib retracement. And where does it hit? The 618, the orange line. Perfect. That's the typical retracement that we want to see. RSI is right here around the 50, looking beautiful. It's great. Yes, it did break that upward trend line, but it made it to a healthy retracement point. So could we expect a little bit of consolidation here around 10 cents and then attempt to get over this 200 EMA again? Yes, that is highly possible. As the lowest I expect is the full one retracement back down to 9 cents. So So if you got a dime, you're worried about it turning into 9 cents, big whoop. But if you got a dime and you want to turn it into 50 cents, your probabilities are laid out for you. This is a great coin to be entering. Keep an eye on it as it may drop a little bit further, but you're looking for an entry point anywhere in essentially this area is your entry point. Yes, there's the possibility of this, but this area is more or less where you want to be. So let's go to XDC. XDC, people were saying, enter XDC, enter XDC. I'm selling my Porsche and getting in. And they just got obliterated this entire year. Now is when we look at XDC. Say, Neil, why would we look at XDC now and not whenever the influencer who says selling his Porsche to buy XDC is buying up here at 7 cents? Because he's losing all of that money that he put in to XDC because he says, oh, it's the RWA for XRP and whatever the Google is going to tell him. Terrible technical analysis because that would be a terrible entry price point. He was up here at 7 cents. He has made no profit, but he will continue to push it to you. I am pushing it to you because I am starting to see a little bit of support. CM Guppy thinned out. It's flipping a little bit gray. Yes, it had a little bit of a push, but it's in consolidation. The main thing I noticed with XDC are these bars down here. This is the volume. Volume is picking up, which is a good sign. RSI, right at the 50, expect a little bit of rejection and forming a W with that purple line, and then crossing over the yellow and pushing it over into the overbought, which is essentially you'd expect a little bit of consolidation retracement, but say you enter here at 0.031, you're looking at maybe a 31% increase in price. Not big, not the biggest thing out there, but there is the possibility of getting that 31% before a little bit of rejection because the 200 EMA is some pretty strong stuff right here. Once it gets over that 200 EMA and consolidates, that's essentially where you're looking for your entry. You can not gain that 31%. It's not really a big deal. Entering here around 0.042 is essentially where you'd be looking at XDC. And as far as we know from this chart, 100% increase in price. XDC is really not my go-to. For those of you who are in it and just waiting to hear some good news, there's not really any good news for XDC. Yes, on this chart, we'll base it off of this chart because it's has a little bit more data. 19 cents is its all-time high. Currently at 3 cents, say we enter in here around 4.3. All-time high is only really 341%. So again, XCN is a way better bet than XDC. XRP is a way better bet than XDC. But if you're stuck in XDC, just hold on because it is starting to flip a little bullish. And I say that because the volume is picking up. They want to say this is the base. The true base is really down here or even lower, down more or less here. That's essentially the fair value gap. So it can be pulling back that far if Bitcoin pulls back. But as of right now, I'm still not entering XDC. I'm just putting it out there for you guys. Yes, the Fibonacci retracement, typically we wait for the 618 Fib retracement, saying this is the bottom. There's obvious resistance here around 0.0588. 618 is the typical retracement, which is 10 cents. Just about 2x your money maybe. I'm not really interested in XDC at the moment, but keep an eye on it because it is starting to do a little bit more of a bullish signal. Actually, one thing I did have pulled up was something that I use within my strategy, downward trend line. It broke that downward trend line, which is of importance to me and to people who kind of see that this strategy works. Broke the downward trend line, but the reason I have not entered is because it still has the possibility to come down and test that once more as support there around the 0.02. So keep that in mind that yes, XDC can still pull back 46%, just like we talked about in the previous videos with XRP and XCN, but its upside potential is roughly 239%, which puts you well over a 1-to-1. But hold on to your horses, wait and eyeball your entry. Don't just enter because it looks a little bullish and it's got some volume. Don't enter because of that. Do your own research, make sure you know what you're buying and what you are entering. But XDC as of right now is in consolidation, and I want to see it in consolidation for the next week or two. Yes, I might be wrong, we might get a pump above the 200 EMA, but you're still not supposed to be entering until we hold above that 200 EMA, because we could see a pump up, quick retracement back down to this level, and then you could be potentially looking for a better entry opportunity for that coin. And lastly, trying to keep the video short, but I know it's going on longer than I want it to. Solana, beautiful setup, trying to hold support on this black upward trend line. Its true support is here around $73. For those of you who missed that scalp trade from the 83 up to the 96 and did not sell off, or if you just didn't enter it, you have an entry opportunity coming up. We want to see what Bitcoin's going to do. We can take a look at the news. There was a sell-off by Goldman Sachs for Solana and XRP. Nothing really important, as it was just retail selling off some of their positions to cover their assets. But we could essentially see this pullback down to 75 for Solana. Very unlikely that we're going to see it pull back that far, but it is a possibility. More than likely finding support back here around $79. So if you missed that scalp from roughly 83, scalping 16 to 17%, you have another entry opportunity around here, but the 200 EMA is still a resistance around 30% increase. Me personally, I think Solana is going to hit well over $1,000, potentially $1,500. And I keep restating that because it's more than likely going to happen. I'm not a financial advisor, but I've been in this for over a decade. And we could also see that this is potentially, maybe, if this holds support and starts consolidating and building upwards towards 95, your entry would be at 95 because we have a potential inverse head and shoulders. There's the left shoulder, potential head. I prefer validated head rather than potential, but potential inverse head and shoulders right there. And if we can get that pattern to fill out, your entry would be here, but you would expect potential resistance right at that 200 EMA, which is only around 12%. But we've seen coins like XCN run well beyond the 200 EMA, potentially 45, or even accordance to the Fibonacci retracement, 67 to 89% increase in price before major rejection, pulling it back down towards the 200 EMA, finding support, and then moving back up to fill out the bigger inverse head and shoulders pattern. Inverse head and shoulders within inverse head and shoulders within breaking downward trend lines within volume building up. Everything is panning out for Solana as well as the rest of the market. It's looking very healthy. Even with Bitcoin doing its slight pullback, the market is looking more and more bullish by the days, but can easily have that liquidity sweep right before altcoin season takes off. So do your own research. Use the reference link. Get yourself 1,000 Satoshi Bitcoin for free. And good luck. Have fun with it. And I'll see you on the next one.